Welcome to the first edition of SuccessConverge. Welcome to the first edition of SuccessConverge, and I am very excited to be here with you today. Just to see what is happening on the different platforms that we'll be streaming on as I wait for you to join me. All right, so let's see where we are live at. Let's see where we are live at. Facebook. Okay, great. We are live in the group. So I've got to leave this here so that I can see who is joining me here. All right, so I can confirm we are live on the different platforms right now. Let me see here in the group. Yep. All right, so I can confirm that we are live on Facebook. Let me confirm if we are live on YouTube as well. I think we should. That shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. LifeExcel TV. Hi, Namdi. Thanks for joining. I can see you online. All right. Yes, I can also confirm that we're live on YouTube. So everything is good and we are ready to go. Hi, Namdi. Happy to see you. Thanks for joining me. I'm just trying to get a few things sorted and then we will kick off the session. All right, I confirm this is on. Okay. Good morning, Emmanuel, for joining. I can see you on Facebook. So I think everything is good and ready to go. I'll just wait for a few seconds and we'll take it off. In the meantime, I will just start sharing my slides and let people know that we are actually live. All right, so my slide is up. I can see it live and direct from here. So if you're joining on Facebook, I want to welcome you. If you're joining on YouTube, I want to welcome you. If you are joining me here on Emit, I want to welcome because I really, really value and appreciate everyone who is joining on Emit because I get to interact with you directly. I'm unable to see the people on Facebook and on YouTube because I'm using a different platform today. But yeah, for those who are here on Emit, I really, really appreciate it because I'll be able to interact with you more directly. But if you're on Facebook, you're not missing out. You're going to have the same experience. If you're on YouTube, you're also going to have the same experience as well. So I just want to welcome you to today's edition of SuccessConverge. For those who may not know, My name is Apeh Omede, and I am the founder at LifeExcel Resource Centre. And at LifeExcel, what we do is to inspire and encourage people to live a life of intentional excellence. So we provide platforms to help them to be able to experience that in real times and not just stories or fairy tales. And one of the platforms that we use to do that is SuccessConverge. So every month we host an edition of SuccessConverge where we tackle a particular topic in relation to the theme of the year. And so this is the first for 2023. And basically, it's going to be a kind of a starting up foundation for the rest of the year and for the rest of the Success Convert that we're going to be having going forward. And so for everyone who is joining today, I really want to appreciate you. I really want to thank you for joining, because it's an indication that you are ready and willing to make this year work. It's going to be a beautiful year. I believe so deeply in my heart that it's going to be a very beautiful year, and I hope you believe that too. But one of the ways through which we are going to make it a beautiful year is by increasing in knowledge and putting any of those knowledge that we're going to acquire into action, not just acquiring knowledge, but also putting it to work. That is what will yield the results of this year. So we believe that this year would be a glorious and a very profitable year. And that is why we're investing ourselves into, knowing more, increasing in knowledge, because knowledge and its application is power. And so we acquire this knowledge and we're going to put them to work to better our lives and better this year. And we look forward to a very great year. And so one more time, thank you very much for joining me. And I don't want to really take too much time today. I just want to quickly go into our conversation and hoping that you'll be able to catch up. If I go too fast, you could maybe send me a message to slow down, but I don't really intend to run too fast. I just want to take it slow and steady and make my points as we proceed. But because I don't want to keep us for a very long time, we're going to just kick off immediately, and we will see how that goes. It is our tradition to always pray before we start our conversation. So if you don't mind, I'd like to invite you to join me and pray, and we continue from there. So let's pray. Father, we thank you. We give you praise. We exalt and magnify you. We adore you. We thank you for this beautiful brand new year. We thank you for 2023. We bless your holy name, because we know that it is going to be a special year. It's going to be a year of great blessing unto us. And so, Lord, we want to commit this session to you, and we pray that the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding that we need to make it a glorious year be delivered unto us by the power of your word and by the power of your spirit. And we pray you open our hearts to receive, and open our minds to understand. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much for praying with me. I appreciate that. Thanks, Joshua Odaudu, for joining. Nice to have you. So if you are just joining, like I said, we're going to kick off. If we have time at the end of the conversation, we are going then to probably have one or two chats to get to know ourselves better. But apart from that, we're just going to move on. So welcome one more time. All right. So today we want to talk about, let me see if my slide is working very, okay, great. My slide is good. Today we want to talk about how to show up. We want to talk about how to show up in 2023. It's a brand new year, brand new month, brand new weeks, brand new days will be delivered unto us continuously for the rest of the year. And it is important that for every single month that is delivered unto us, every single week that is delivered unto us, every single day, every single hour, every single minute and second that is delivered unto us as an opportunity to show up, that we show up the right way. So this session is to tinker our minds, push us around a little bit to make us see what it means or what we need to show up effectively and in the right way in 2023. Because having talked about this year going to be a beautiful year, this year going to be a glorious year, it won't be a beautiful year, it won't be a glorious year without us showing up the right way. So the only way it's going to be a beautiful year is if we show up what? The right way. And so this session today, in today's SuccessConverge, this month's SuccessConverge, the idea or the goal is to help you understand what you need to do to show up the right way. So my objective, my goal for this session is that by the end of it, you will understand some of the things you need to do to show up appropriately in 2023. Okay, so having said that, let's just move into the conversation with an introduction. My introduction says that when people fail, it is not because they don't have what it takes to succeed. It's not because they don't have what it takes to succeed. It's not because they don't have the knowledge to succeed. It's not because they don't have the gifts and the talents. It's not even because they don't have the opportunity, because you see a lot of people complain that they don't have opportunities to succeed. You see a lot of people complain that their parents didn't give them the opportunity, their government didn't give them the opportunity, their school didn't give them the opportunity, their uncles or aunties that are rich and wealthy didn't give them opportunities, their friends didn't give them opportunity. But when you look at it critically, you will find out that it is not necessarily the lack of opportunity. It is not necessarily the lack of gifts and talents and potentials. It is simply the lack of understanding of how to show up. So many people have failed not because they lack the gifts and talent to succeed, not because they lack the opportunity to succeed, but simply because when they showed up in the place of opportunity, when they showed up at the time of opportunity, they showed up wrongly. They showed up wrongly. Sometimes you have just one chance to make a lasting impression that will open up an opportunity to you. You have one chance, one opportunity, or one go at an opportunity to open up a blessing, to open up a door, to open up greatness unto you. And this is why you need to know how to show up this year, so that if you find yourself in a situation where you have just one opportunity or one chance to show up, then you show up appropriately, you show up in the right way, you show up in the right manner. Because if you miss that opportunity, you might not have a second chance. If you mess up an opportunity as a result of how you showed up, you might not have that opportunity again. So it's very, very important that we know how to show up this year. Okay, so now we move into how to show up proper. And the first thing I want to share with you is that to show up this year, you need to show up prepared. You need to show up prepared. Now look at the scripture on that slide. It's about Joseph, and it says, "Then Pharaoh sent and called for Joseph, and they hurriedly," take note of that, hurriedly brought him out of the dungeon. And when Joseph shaved himself and changed his clothes, making himself presentable, he came to Pharaoh. This is very, very important. We know the story of Joseph, and we know what is happening here, but if in case you don't know what is happening here, Joseph was one of the sons of Jacob that was gifted with the gifts of dreams and the interpretation of dreams. And what is happening here, or what happened at this particular point, was that this was his moment of showing up. The Pharaoh had a dream and needed an interpreter. And there was one person who had the gift and the talent of interpretation of dreams, and that was Joseph. But you notice that when his name was mentioned to Pharaoh and Pharaoh asked for him to be brought to him, the people hurried him, but he refused to be subjected to their hurriedness. Now, sometimes we see an opportunity, we don't take time to sit down to think about it, to ask ourselves if we are prepared to take that opportunity. We rush into it and then we miss the blessing because we fail to prepare for it. We fail to make ourselves presentable. We fail to make ourselves presentable. And the fact is that Joseph is actually acting out what he has already learned from his own previous experience. Remember, before this particular period, he had already had dreams and he shared it with his family members. But at that particular point in time, he didn't understand the principle of preparation. And that act of sharing his dream and sharing his vision when he was not ready pushed him into slavery. So sometimes we want to rush into our vision, want to rush into our dreams, want to rush into the year, or we allow people to hurry us into things when we are not prepared for it. But for Joseph, he knew that presentation was going to be important. You can imagine what would have been in the mind of Pharaoh if they brought to him a man that looked very, very haggard, that looked very, very unkempt. The first thing that would have come into the mind of Pharaoh would be, how do you expect me to listen to this particular person? So to be able to have the ears of Pharaoh, to be able to have the ears of the king, he needed to look like somebody that the king would give an audience to. When it was time for him to show up, he made sure that he was ready for it. He prepared for it. All right. So the first thing we're going to think about in showing up in 2023 is to make sure that we are prepared. We show up prepared. We show up prepared. We won't allow anybody to hurry us into our goals, into our visions for this year. And one of the ways that you can get hurried into your vision and goal for this year is when you begin to see your friends buy new cars, see your friends get married, see your friends build their houses, travel abroad, do this and do that, make a lot of money. And you begin to think about your life and begin to think that everything is working against you. And then you want to rush into any kind of career. You want to rush into any kind of business. You want to rush into any kind of woman. You want to rush into any kind of man for marriage. You want to rush into any kind of opportunity that comes to you, even when you know that the opportunity might not be the right one, but you're being, forced or pushed by what you're seeing in the lives of your friends. You're being hurried by the things that is happening in the lives of your friends. So you need to be sure that you are prepared and ready for presentation before you show up. You want to show up in such a way that everybody looks at you and they think that you are the right person for this particular problem. You are the right person to solve this problem. You are the right person to give an answer to this question, just like it happened, between Pharaoh and Joseph. So what does it mean to really, really show up prepared? It means to be ready for an opportunity by having the necessary skills, necessary knowledge, and necessary resources. To be ready for an opportunity by having the necessary knowledge, skills, and resources. Now, every opportunity that will come your way in 2023 will demand a level of knowledge. Every opportunity that will come your way in 2023 will demand a level of skill. Every opportunity that will come your way in 2023 will demand a level of inherent resources, inherent capability, inherent ability. If you are not ready with those skills, with those knowledge, with those resources, you cannot tap into that opportunity. If you say you want to make 500,000 naira a month in 2023, do you have the number of skills? Do you have the number of amount of knowledge or the degree of knowledge? Do you have the quality and the quantity of resources to make 500,000 naira a month, $500,000 a month? Do you have what it takes? Because to operate at that level of income, you need to have a kind of knowledge. You need to be prepared with some kind of skills. If you say you want to be a father this year, have you gotten to a point that you understand what it means to be a father? That being a father is not just impregnating a woman and having a baby, or being a mother is not just getting pregnant and giving birth to a child. No, it is more than that. You need emotional preparedness. You need social preparedness. You need economic preparedness. You need mental preparedness to be able to say, I want to be a father. So for your dreams, for your goals, for your vision this year, I want you to sit down again and reassess how prepared you are to show up for that dream or for that goal for 2023. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're listening from, but I know you have a dream. I know you have a vision. My question to you is this: how prepared are you in your knowledge? How prepared are you in your skills? How prepared are you in the deposit of resources that you have to be able to fulfill that dream or that goal? Because what it means to show up prepared is to be ready for any opportunity that comes your way by having the necessary skills, necessary knowledge, and necessary resources. Now, a man that is prepared with little gifts will always be stronger than an unprepared man with great gifts. So sometimes you see people and you feel like this guy should be here by this time. That guy should be there by that time. This lady should have been married by this time. This guy should have, done this or done that by that time, because of what you think they have in terms of skills and all that. But your skills are nothing if they are not sharpened. Your knowledge is nothing if it does not have any application. Your resources are not useful if there is nothing that they can, if they are not investable. So you might be saying you don't have any gift, you don't have any talent, or you have just a little talent. My charge to you today is to go get yourself prepared by sharpening that skill. Go get yourself prepared by sharpening that talent. Go get yourself prepared by increasing knowledge in that area. If you want to start a business, you don't need to have all the money. You need to have the knowledge that you can use to prepare yourself to go into the business. You don't need to have all, you don't need to amass all the wealth to live the best kind of life that you want. If that is your goal for this year, you can start with the little that you have. If you prepare with the little gift that you have, you will come out stronger and better than an unprepared man, no matter how many gifts he has. No matter how many gifts he has. No matter how many gifts he has. If he is not prepared, he will not be as strong as you, even though you might have a little gift, but you are prepared. When you lack preparation, your gifts and talent will lack the opportunity to express themselves. And that is the truth. When you lack preparation, your gifts and talent will lack the opportunity for expression. Pastor Val is asking for link to share. So maybe I'll share this other link with you. Just give me a minute. Let me share this copy. Share this with Pastor Val. All right. Thanks everyone who has joined. Thanks, Pastor Val. Thanks everyone who has joined, and sorry for that. I just wanted to share the link with Pastor Val, who wanted to share. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can share this. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching the group, you might not be able to share, but on my personal page and SuccessConverge and LifeExcel page, you are able to share this conversation with your friends. Okay, so we're talking about what happens when you lack preparation. When you lack preparation, your gifts and your talent will lack the opportunity to express. And there is nothing more evil than denying your gifts and your talent the opportunity to be expressed. It is going to be a useless life if your gifts and your talents are not expressed. It's going to be a useless life if it's an opportunity, when an opportunity comes up and you are not prepared to express your gift and talent and potential. You see, Joseph didn't worry much about his ability to interpret. And this is what I want you to understand. So, because sometimes you can get swallowed by the fact that you are gifted, and then you forget that there are other things that the gifts and the talent may not be able to do. So he wasn't worried about his ability to interpret dreams, but he was worried about his looks. He was worried about his dress, what he was going to put on, before Pharaoh. And he made sure that he had the right attire to present himself properly. And do you know that if he hadn't presented himself properly, like I said, he would have been asked to leave the presence of Pharaoh. And what that would automatically mean would have been that he wouldn't have the opportunity to express his gift of interpretation of dreams. So preparation is very, very important if your gift and your talents must be expressed in 2023. So how do you show up prepared? How do you show up prepared? Number one, you must have the mindset of expectation. People who show up prepared do so because they expect the opportunity to come up someday. And the expectation drives them to go and get prepared. I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to say. People who show up prepared have an expectation for an opportunity to show up. And so that expectation goes to do what? To drive them to prepare. In Genesis chapter 40, if you go one chapter back from where we read, verse 14 again, he told the cupbearer, the chief cupbearer, that when you go out of this prison and an opportunity comes for you to remember me, please make sure you do so. So Joseph had this mindset of expectation. He knew that someday I will have the opportunity to stand before Pharaoh. Someday I will have the opportunity to show up. And so with that expectation in his mind, he was prepared at all times because he knew that something is going to happen. So when they came to pick him up, the Bible said they hurried him, but he said, no, don't hurry me. Give me time to prepare. Give me time to prepare. So the first thing you need to do if you must be prepared to show up this year is to have a mindset of expectation. So if I know or if I expect a certain kind of result in 2023, then I prepare myself for it. For example, if I want to get married in 2023, I start now in January to prepare for it, or even 2022 to prepare for it, or even 2021 to prepare for it. Some people prepare for a marriage for 2 years, some 3 years, and all that. But the most important thing is that I am preparing because I have an expectation, and I don't want to fail when that expectation comes, when that opportunity comes. It's going to be disastrous to be expecting something and it comes and you're not prepared for it. It's going to be very disastrous. And I practice this severally. Whenever I have I have a target or have an expectation, I begin to prepare for it. And I've shared this severally. If you know me, you would have heard how I prepare for things, how I prepare for opportunities. So I target an opportunity 6 months ahead, 1 year ahead, and I begin to prepare for it. I begin to ask myself, what is it that I need to do to be qualified for this opportunity? What is it that I need to do to be eligible to apply for this opportunity? Do I need to improve my CV? Do I need to improve a lab skill as a researcher? Do I need to improve a knowledge of a particular topic? Do I need to travel and win some little grants, grants to add to my CV to show how capable or qualified or eligible I am to win that opportunity? So with that mind of expectation, I get myself in the mood of preparation all the time, so that when it is time to hit the nail at the head, I don't have any excuse. So the first thing to do is to have a mindset of what? Of expectation. People who show up prepared expect the opportunities ahead of time. Number two, think like a warrior. If you think like a warrior, then you will find yourself always in a prepared state of mind, prepared state of mental agility or something like that. Because you know that as a warrior, you cannot afford to be caught unprepared in a battle. So, because 2023 is more or less like a battle, you're going into a battle in 2023 and you want to win. And if you truly want to win, then you have to think and act like what? A warrior. Always ready with your weapon for battle. Always ready with your weapon for battle. Think like a warrior. A warrior knows that he can be someone at any point in time to go into the field, to go into the battle. And he doesn't have any excuse to give. He can't say, oh, sorry, my sword is not sharpened, or my ammunitions are not. I've run out of ammunitions, or something is wrong with my gun. No, you can't tell that to the general when you have an opportunity to be in the battle to represent the general. You can't say that. So you need to be ready at every point in time. And one way to do it is to think like a warrior. Think as if you're in a battle. So you're agile at every point in time. Know that an opportunity can come at any point in time, and you don't have any reason to deny yourself that opportunity. Number three, practice ahead of time. The time to prepare is before the opportunity appears. The time to prepare for an opportunity is actually before the opportunity appears. It is not when the opportunity appears. It is what? Before it appears. So don't wait and say, okay, I will get ready when it is time to speak. I'll get ready when it is time to write the exam. You're writing an ICANN exam, or you're writing an exam to become a registered engineer or whatever. I don't know what it's called. And then you wait until it is time to write the exam. Then you now start looking, scrambling up and down for materials to get ready. Or you're writing a GRE because you want to get a scholarship next year. And then you wait until the month of the exam to start. No, it's not done like that. You practice ahead of time. You get yourself prepared ahead of time. All right? So what happens when you show up unprepared? Mockery and rejection. Joseph was rejected and mocked by his family members when he first shared his vision unprepared. Remember, when he shared his dream to them and they laughed at him, they mocked him and they maltreated him, they dealt with him anyhow because he was not ready. God was simply, showing, getting him to think about preparing for something bigger. He was not seeing the bigger picture. So he was not prepared. He was only excited about the opportunity to be, above the rest of the family members. So when you show up unprepared, of course, people will laugh at you. When you show up unprepared, of course, people will reject your proposals. So for your proposal to be accepted, you need to show up prepared. Number two, you face fierce opposition. And it brings to mind the story of Moses. Remember when he came to know about what was happening to his brothers and sisters in Egypt? He wanted to help, but he was not ready. He was not ready. He was not prepared. And so what happened? He was faced by fierce opposition. He was faced by fierce opposition. Nobody accepted his offer. Nobody was willing to look up to him as a savior. Because we're all slaves. So how can you be talking to us that you want to save us when we're all slaves? No, you can't. What makes you different from us? We're all slaves. So you can't be our savior. So they opposed him fiercely because he was not prepared to be their deliverer at that particular point in time. It had to take him another 40 years to go back and prepare to now come back and actually be a deliverer. So if you're facing opposition in certain areas of your life, you need to think back at how prepared have you been for that particular circumstance, that particular situation. Sometimes we say, I'm not getting promoted, or I'm not receiving good feedback. My boss is always not happy with me and all that, doesn't want to recommend me for this course or for this training. Have you been prepared for that training? Have you been prepared for that promotion? Have you? If you haven't, then you're definitely going to face water position. And of course, there's going to be imminent failure for anything that is not prepared for, right? No one succeeds in life or in anything without preparation. Serena Williams cannot go into the field or into the court to play with anybody without being prepared. And mind you, that you're prepared does not mean you will not fail. And we're going to talk about that as we continue, all right? But the most important thing, that the more you prepare, the more chances of not failing, the more chances of succeeding. The more you prepare, the more chances of what? Of succeeding. So, do you want to be a creative designer this year? Are you prepared for it? If not, you're going to fail. Do you want to marry this year? Are you prepared for it? If not, you will fail. Do you want to be promoted this year? Are you prepared? If not, you will fail. Do you want to be financially independent this year? Are you prepared? If not, you will fail. And it's not a cause. That is the fact. That is how things work in life. For anything to succeed in life, you have to be prepared for it. Number 2, show up convinced. Show up convinced. If there is any way you want to show up this year, it is to show up what? Convinced. If there is any way or anything you want to do this year in terms of showing up, it is to show up what? Convinced. So, how convinced are you about 2023? We're going to talk about that. Thanks for all the comments on Facebook. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. If you're here with me on Emit and you want to comment as well, you can leave a chat. You can use the chat button and leave a chat, for me. And yeah, I'll be able to see your comments and even highlight it, depending. So if you're getting anything that is hitting you, or you're getting any ideas and you want to share it in the comment, feel free to use the comment section to share that here in Emit. And then on Facebook, of course, you can go ahead and do that. So show up convinced. If you want to show up this year, make sure you show up convinced. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, since he has taunted and defied the armies of the living God. David said, "The Lord who rescued me from the power of the lion and from the power of the bear, he will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." What a statement of conviction. Again, what is happening here? There was a battle between the Israelites and the Philistines. The commander, or whatever, the giants of the Philistines came up and was threatening everybody, threatening to rain fire and brimstone. And instead of the people to be able, to show up with the conviction that they could win the battle, they all hid. They all were afraid. They all were scared. Does it mean that they were not prepared? I don't know. But maybe they were prepared. But the point is, you don't stop at preparing. You must be also what? Convinced. And then a man showed up in the arena immediately named David. And this man has had experiences. He has been in the wilderness. He has seen some things. He has had some in-depth, personal, deep-seated conviction about how God works, about how things work. He knows that if you have done it once, if you have done it twice, then you can do it the third time. If you have done it once, successfully done it twice, then there is all probability, 100% probability that you can do it again the third time. And then that begins to solidify your belief system. That begins to solidify your words and actions, so that when you come out and say, this is it, there is no going back. You're speaking from an understanding. So, because for David to come out and tell this to Saul, the king, with all confidence, he is speaking because he knows what is involved. He has been part of it. He has had that experience. And so he is convinced that it is possible to pull down the mountain. And this was an opportunity as well for David at that particular point in time to showcase himself. Remember that it was at this particular point in time that his people started looking up to him for kingship, for leadership. It was, in fact, this was an opportunity for him to show up and begin to manifest the gift of leadership in him. And it took conviction for him to be able to do that. He faced opposition. People were like, who are you? You've never fought before. You've never been to battle before. You've never held a sword before. And people will tell you that when you speak out of conviction of what you want to achieve in 2023, people will tell you, who are you? What have you done? But if you have done things in the secret, if you've done things in the wilderness like David, then there is nothing that they will tell you that will stop you. So that when you show up and people look at you and we're like, oh, where is it coming from? Who knows this one? What does he know? What does he do? What does he have? You know deep inside of your heart that you've killed a bear before. You've killed a lion before. And so this particular Philistine standing before you, you're going to pull it down as well. So at that particular point in time, no challenge is too much to overcome. No opportunity is too much to take. Nothing is too hard to work. So, what does it mean to show up convinced? It means to have a belief in your idea or concept or principle, or having faith in your credibility or reliability in your person. Having faith in your person, in the credibility and reliability of your person. You are convinced of your credibility. You're convinced of your reliability. You're convinced of the strength of your principle, the power of your idea, the power of the concept that you're coming out with. So, if you have an idea this year and you really, really, really want to see it come to pass, you must be convinced about it. You must have a belief in it in such a way that no other person has. You must have a belief in it in such a way that even when people tell you, this app you're developing, I don't think it will sell. I don't think anybody will download it. Tell them, I know people will download it. When people are telling you that this business you want to go into, people have gone into it and they've made loss. They've lost a lot of money. They've lost even their lives. Tell them, in this case, it is different. And you can only say that when you are convinced of that particular idea or that concept, and you are convinced of your credibility, you're convinced of the reliability of your person, that if you put your head down on this, and if you say a thing about it, that is how it's going to be. So conviction is very, very important, because you may not be sure of anything in this year, but you must be convinced of your ideas and talent and the opportunities that they may bring to you. So even if you're not sure of anything, you're not sure of any man who is going to give you money to start a business, you're not sure of any person who's going to open a door for you, a door of opportunity for you, you're not sure of anything happening, you're not sure of anything coming your way. Even if you're not sure of any of these things, you must be convinced that your ideas can be a precursor for an opportunity that you're looking for. You must be convinced of that. So don't let anything tell you that the idea you have for anything you want to do this year, that is not possible. Don't let anyone tell you that. Don't let anything pull you back from believing in that idea. So long as you're convinced about the key thing is that you're convinced about it, just like David was. He had an encounter with the bear, he had an encounter with the lion, and he conquered. So he had this conviction that the same thing would happen to that Philistine. So you need to come to a point where you are sure you've tested and trusted every process that led to you coming up with that idea. You've tested and trusted every concept, every principle that led to you coming to that idea, coming to the point of that idea. And so you are convinced of it and know that nothing can stop it. So what should you be convinced of as you show up in 2023? David showed up convinced of certain things. And that is the things I want to share with you. Number one, you need to be convinced of divine backing for that idea you're having for 2023. Know that you're not alone in the journey of this year. Just know that you are not alone in the journey of 2023. There is a divine backing for your idea, for your concept, for everything you want to achieve in 2023. For God to allow you to see the year, it means that he has something in store for you. For him to allow you to see the year is not a coincidence. It's not an accident. Okay? So there is a divine backing for your idea, for your concept, for the things that you want to do for this year. And that is the reason why God made it possible for you to say this year. Be convinced of that even when 1,000 men rise up against you, even when 1,000 women rise up against you, even when everything seems that they are falling apart, that you have a divine backing for whatever it is that you're doing. You would face challenges, you face opposition, just like the brothers of David told him, who are you? You don't know anything about war. You've not been in a battle before. Why should you be here? But he knew that the God that was with him in the wilderness would also be with him in the battle. So one, you have the backing. So you should be convinced of that as you show up in 2023. So when you have an opportunity to show up, they say, hey, come and make a presentation about your idea. Go, beating your chest and saying, I have a divine backing. They call you to give a proposal or give a proposal or develop a proposal for a business. Do it knowing that what you have a divine backing. Number two, you need to be convinced of your personality. You are unique and you're gifted differently from everybody. Because sometimes we will say, oh, okay, this guy has done it. I don't think that if I do it, that it will work for me. What do you mean? Your way of presentation is different from his way of presentation. The way you write is different from the way he writes. That is why you have several authors on the same topic. I have a book titled Unstoppable You. And I can tell you that there are several other books out there with the same title, Unstoppable You. And when I came up with the idea of the title, I didn't know that there were other books with the same title. But what makes the difference? The difference is that my style of writing, the story in my book, is different from the style of writing of the other authors and the stories in their books. So if I were to say, okay, this author has written Unstoppable You, that author has written Unstoppable You, so I'm not going to write anything on Unstoppable You, I'm denying myself an opportunity to show up as an author. There are many coaches out there. There are many businessmen out there doing the same thing. There are many researchers doing the same thing. There are many speakers out there. There are many pastors out there. There are many, whatever it is that you can think of out there. But I can assure you that there are no two of them that are the same. So you need to be convinced of the uniqueness of your gifts. You need to be convinced of the uniqueness of your talent. You need to be convinced of the uniqueness of your ability to deliver uniquely, to speak uniquely, to write uniquely, to do the business in a different way that people will look at it and be like, we have not seen it before, but it's the same business, just that you're doing it in your own unique way. And so if you don't have that conviction about it, about your person, you will not be able to show up appropriately. When I started speaking or going live like this, or teaching on live sessions like this, I used to be worried because I did first few recordings and I listened to my voice. I was like, oh my God, this voice is too harsh. It's not smooth, I started comparing myself with other people that I've listened to that have smooth voices, they speak as if, they eat and drink English. And I was scared. But with time, I began to get convinced that my voice is unique. My voice is different. My personality is different. My tone is different. I don't have to speak like John. I don't have to speak like James. I don't have to speak like Peter. I am Apeh, and I need to be Apeh at every point in time. And I need to be convinced that Apeh has something to say. So it does not matter how his voice sounds. What is most important is what he is saying. So your personality, you need to strongly be convinced about it, that you're unique and gifted in a different way from others. Number 3, the strength of your skills. You have been practicing in the secret. You have been practicing at the backstage. So your skills are perfected. Your skills are ready. You need to be convinced of that. So I didn't just show up making this presentation. No. I have done several virtual sessions, which is part of my preparation for a day like this, for an opportunity like this. So now I am convinced that because I've done this severally, my strength in doing virtual sessions has been strengthened. Right? So I just want to be as practical as I could with this session. All right. So I have strengthened my skill to come up. I have broken away from shyness. I've broken away from not speaking correctly. I've broken away from making mistakes. I've broken away from people not liking my face on the screen or whatever it is, to say this is what I want to do because I believe that I have the skills, that I've perfected the skills, and I'm able to do it. You should be convinced of the strength of your skills because you've spent thousands of hours practicing to do that shooting. If you're a basketballer, practicing to get that curve that ball to go to that end, that section of the bar. You've been practicing to do the stand-up comedy, or what is it called again? This spoken poetry. You've been practicing how to write, and I don't know what you're waiting for to start your blog. I don't know what you're waiting for to start writing. You have to be convinced of the strength of your skills. You have to be convinced of your skills. Now, if you show up unconvinced, you will create doubts. People will doubt you. You don't want to come and then you're doing. I mean, David came and he wasn't too sure. Okay, yeah, God help me to kill the bear and the lion. But I don't know. This guy is really, really tall. He's really, really tall. And then instead of building the confidence of other people, he will begin to lose their confidence because he's creating doubt. So when you are unconvinced about anything, you create doubts for yourself or about yourself and about the in people who are expecting to receive from you. People will doubt what you say. People will doubt what you say you can do when you show up unconvinced. Yes, people will doubt what you say you can do if you show up unconvinced. You can't tell people, I can fix this computer. And then when you come, you start asking several questions. What is wrong again? Is it this that happened? Is it that happened? You've already positioned yourself as someone who is able to do that. And so you should start doing that. Start finding out what is wrong with the computer and start solving the problem, and not asking unnecessary questions that are not needed to find out what is the problem with the computer. Because if you do that, you're going to lose trust. You're going to lose confidence in people. From people who are looking up to you to show up with trust and confidence. And then you definitely lose an opportunity. Because if you show up unconvinced, I'm not going to give you an opportunity the second time. I have to wait until I know that you're properly convinced that you can do it before I give you that opportunity. You need to be convinced of yourself, convinced of your personality, of the strength of your skill, and convinced of the divine backing for whatever it is that you're doing. And then the opportunity will always be there for you. Number 3, show up courageous. Now, it's interesting to see that David was, first of all, courageous before he was convinced. He was, first of all, courageous before he was convinced. Because in verse 32 of that same 1 Samuel chapter 17, he said that David said to Saul, let no man's courage fail. Let no man's courage fail. Because of him, which is Goliath, your servant will go out and fight the Philistine. So he had already built up a courage. So he showed up courageously. He showed up with courage. Oh, he has killed a bear before. He has killed a lion before. So he's convinced because he's been courageous to try things out. So when you're courageous and you try things out and they work the first time, you're courageous again, you try it out the second time, it worked, then you will be convinced to try the third time. You'll be convinced to try this the third time. The second scripture there is from Esther chapter 4, verse 16. It said, go, gather all the Jews that are present in Susha and observe a fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my mates also will fast in the same way. Then I will go in. I will show myself. I will show up before the king without being summoned, which is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. If you're not courageous, you cannot go into that office. If you're not courageous, you cannot knock on that man's door to say, I need this thing. If you're not courageous, you cannot ask people for help, and you'll be there dying in silence. If you're not courageous, people will not give you what you are asking for. You won't even have the opportunity to stand before them to ask for anything because you are living in fear. You need courage to show up in 2023. You need courage to show up in 2023. You need courage to show up in 2023. You need to be able to go to anybody you think is in the position to be a solution to your problem and speak to them. But you can't do that if you're not courageous. You can't ask for that help if you're not courageous. So what does it mean to show up courageous? It means to be willing to take risks and step out of your comfort zone to achieve a goal or make a positive change. Willing to take a risk and step out of your comfort zone to achieve a goal and make a positive change. So, and this is where a lot of people begin to miss it. So you are prepared. You are convinced this is good. You're convinced this is a good idea, rather. You know you are able, you have the capability to do it. But you don't have courage. You cannot take the risk. You can't step out of your comfort zone to start working on the things you believe is possible. Then what kind of person would you be? What kind of person would you be? So if there is anything that you need to do in 2023, it is to be willing to take risks and step out of your comfort zone to achieve your goal. A few days ago, I did a post on my Facebook page or Facebook profile and all across my different platforms on decision making. And there is a two-part series, two-part conversation. And the first part is mostly around taking risks in terms of decision. Because a decision must be surrounded by risk for it to be a decision. There must be some things that you have to be afraid of, kind of, for it to be a decision. You know that, okay, if I take this decision, this might happen, and that might happen. And those are the risks. But if you don't make those decisions, you can never know if the risks were that dangerous or not. Worst case scenario, you take the risk, you make some losses, you lose some opportunities, but you learn from it. And then you keep moving. So you need to be willing to take risks. You need to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. I don't know what your comfort zone is. Maybe it is, you say you are an introvert. If you know me, you know that I'm an introvert. If you know me one-on-one, you know that I'm an introvert. But when it comes to the things that have to do with my life and my destiny, forget about being an introvert. I can be the loudest. Yes, when it comes to taking opportunity, I can be the loudest. I can go any length to take the risk, so long as it is a worthy risk. So we need to be courageous. We need to be willing to take risks and step out of our comfort zone. If you think that you cannot do, I don't know, but the point is this: you need to step up your game. I don't know what is holding you back. I don't know what is your comfort zone. I don't know what are the risks, but you must be willing to step out, because that is what makes you courageous. Courage does not mean the absence of fear, okay? But the presence of faith in the midst of the fears. That you're courageous does not mean that you are not afraid, but the fear that is in that situation is not strong enough to swallow your faith. David came out and said, "Oh, let's go. We're going to pull down Goliath." It did not reduce the size of Goliath. It did not diminish the fact that Goliath has been a warrior since he was young. It does not diminish the fact that Goliath has been ravaging havoc among in their camp. It didn't reduce that. That Esther went in before the king did not reduce the fact that she could have died. It did not. It didn't mean that she was not afraid that she could have died that night as well. But because of faith, strong belief, born out of conviction, they were able to take those steps. So you might be afraid, but your fears shouldn't swallow your faith. So you're courageous. It doesn't mean that you are not afraid. You are afraid, but it's okay. It's totally okay to go in afraid. Sometimes when I do things, I do them afraid as well. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I seriously need this, but I'm not sure if it's going to work. But I'm going to do my best to do what? To give it a go. Worst case scenario, I won't get it. Best case scenario, I'll get it, and I'll be better for it. So that someone is courageous doesn't mean that they're not afraid, but because of the presence of faith in their heart, they are able to survive in the midst of the fears. Courage is the secret sauce to taking hold of all the opportunities that will come your way this year. So, and this is it. If you're not courageous this year, you will not take that first step. You may be prepared, you may be convinced, but you see that first step, you need to take it. And the only way you can take it is if you're courageous. So if you've been thinking of going live on Facebook to share your message and you're afraid, you need to take it. You need to take that first step of going live. You need to be courageous and do it. If you feel that people will not read your book because you think you don't write very well, you need to write and put it out there. Start writing on your Facebook page. Start doing some Twitter series. Start writing on LinkedIn. Because this will be the secret sauce that will open the doors for you this year if you go into the year courageously and begin to take anything. You have a lady you want to marry and you're afraid. You need to summon the courage and go and speak to her. You need to summon the courage and to go and speak to her. Without it, you don't get married this year. And that is the fact. You need to lend money from the bank and you're not courageous to go into the bank to ask for the money because you think your proposal is not good enough. You need to take that step, write a proposal, go into the bank, speak to them. Worst case scenario, they will say no, but they are not the only bank available in the country. There are several other banks. You can keep trying. But the point is this: the secret sauce to taking hold of all the opportunities that will come your way this year is what? Is courage. Courage is what you need to take the first step to maximize the opportunity that God is bringing your way this year. A man who shows up with courage values the blessings in the opportunity over the risks of rejection or failure. So people don't want to be courageous. They don't want to take a step. Don't want to take a risk because they are afraid of being rejected. They are afraid of being tagged failures. Okay, they don't want to be called failures. They don't want to be rejected, and so they give up on an opportunity to be courageous. But you see people who are courageous, it is because they understand the value of the blessing that this opportunity will bring, that the opportunity will bring to them, that makes them to overcome every fear of rejection and every fear of failure. David asked, he said, if I pull this man down, what would be given to me? Oh my God. When I was applying for my scholarship, I was thinking of the opportunities it would give to me, right? I was thinking of the opportunities it would give to me. And so it doesn't matter how many times I applied and I was not selected. It doesn't matter how many times I applied and I was rejected. It doesn't matter how many times I applied and I failed. I was focused on the blessing that opportunity will give to me. So I was always pushing. I was courageous enough. I was finding my way into the inbox of different professors, of different researchers all over the world, pushing it in there. If I see a grant opportunity, I put in an application for it. I don't care whether I'm going to get it or not. But I know that if I get it, it is going to be a blessing. And so I rather go for it. I rather summon the courage and go for it because of the blessing that will come out of that opportunity than to chicken out as a result of my fear of rejection or failure. A man who shows up with courage values the blessings in the opportunity over the risks of rejection or failure. So you must show up what? Courageous. So what should you be courageous about as you show up in 2023? Number one, facing your own fears. You may feel inadequate, you may feel insecure, but that is okay. No one is perfect. Face your fears. Face your fears. I've told you, when I started speaking, I used to be shy of the tone of my voice. I used to even be shy of how I looked on the screen. I'm like, oh, okay, Apeh, is this how you actually look in real? Oh my God! I don't think you're handsome enough to be on live streams. I told myself that, but here am I, and there's no going back. There's no going. The only thing I'm praying for is time. I need more time to go on live as much as possible, to show myself up as much as I can. Right? So one, you need to be courageous about facing your fears. You are unique. You are different. Nobody is like you. You are inadequate, but that is okay. You could be insecure, but that is okay. No one is perfect. You need to start from somewhere. Number two, you need to be courageous about making mistakes. Making mistakes does not define you. Those who are afraid of mistakes do not grow because they never show up. Okay, remember David again? His brothers were there and they were all afraid. So they never showed up. And because they did not show up, they didn't get the blessings in the opportunity. It was David who eventually married the daughter of the king, because that was one of the promises for anyone who would put down Goliath. So you are afraid of making mistakes, but you need to be courageous about it. There is nothing wrong with making mistakes. The only thing wrong with making mistakes is not learning from them. The only thing wrong with making mistakes is not learning from them. But if you're ready to grow, if you're ready to learn from them, you are good to go. Be courageous, take that step, make as many mistakes as possible, but learn from them and come out the other side better. Number 3, you need to be courageous about what people will say. Whether you show up, people will speak about you, will say something. Whether you don't show up, people will say something about you. So is it not better to show up and let people say what they want to say? I think it's better I show up and say what I want to say, and then let people say what they want to say. As they are there saying whatever they want to say, I am saying my own. I'm creating a path for my destiny, creating a path for my future. So are you listening to me and you're someone that is being held back because of what people are saying? You need to be courageous today and break that mentality. Nobody has control over you. You alone have control over yourself. And so nobody should control you by what they say and then using it to control you or manipulate you into not showing up this year. Maybe you showed up last year and people said, this one, is it one of the coaches? Or this one, is it one of the speakers? Or is this one, is it the one that says he's want to come and marry our daughter? Don't worry about all that. Whether you like it or not, people will speak about you. And if you say you're not going to show up because of people that will speak about you, then you are denying yourself an opportunity for a blessing. So what happens if you show up without courage? You discourage others. People look up to you for courage. But if you become weak, they will be discouraged. If you become weak, they will be discouraged. You will need so the second point is you make poor decisions as well. You will be overtaken by fear, and then as you become afraid, you begin to make poor decisions. There is nobody who is afraid and is able to think properly. If you are in a state of fear, all the decisions you'll be making at that particular point in time will be wrong. You are afraid of losing out. You are afraid of missing out. And that is the greatest fear when it comes to courage. You are afraid that you're missing out, and so you just don't have time to think properly, and so you make poor decisions. That you want to be out there doesn't mean you have to do it anyhow, or you have to take the wrong decisions. No, you don't have to. So, and that can only happen when you are afraid, when you feel you are lagging behind. No, you're not lagging behind. You're not lagging behind. You are at where you're supposed to be at that particular point in time in your life. At the right time, you will move up. So don't allow fear to make you push you to make poor decisions. Don't allow fear to push you to make poor decisions. And when you do not show up with courage, you miss the opportunity. Like I said, only David was the one who went home at the end of the day with the daughter of Saul. He was the one who got all the benefit. He was the one who was hailed. The whole town, the whole city raised him up and were singing and dancing and rejoicing about David. It is only him, or it was only him who benefited from that. And when you are afraid to try things, when you're afraid to show up, when they say, who is going to do this for us? You are in a class or you are in the office and they say, who is going to do this for us? And then you chicken out. Definitely you are not going to get a benefit of the blessing that is in it. So when you show up without courage, you discourage other people, you make poor decisions, and you miss out on opportunities. Number 4, we have 2 more to go, and I'll quickly round them up now. Number 4, show up determined. Show up determined. Show up with a determination. But Daniel made up his mind that he would not defile, taint, dishonor himself with the king's finest food or with the wine which the king drank. So he asked the commander of the official that he might be excused so that he would not defile himself. And then move down to Daniel, that's supposed to be Daniel chapter 1, verse 19, not 8, sorry. And it says, the king spoke with them, and among them all, not one was found like Daniel, Hananiah, Meshach, and Azariah. So they were selected and assigned to stand before the king and enter his personal service. They were selected to stand because of a determination. Do you know? Of course, if you've had to be in a position where you need to deny yourself some things to achieve something, you know it's not easy. You know it's not easy. To deny yourself, for example, you need to be determined to deny yourself of all the pleasures of today so that you can be in a position tomorrow to enjoy. You need to. You make $10,000, 10,000 naira, you squander it. No, you have to be determined that this 10,000 naira, I will save 2,000 out of it. You need to be determined to say this 10,000 naira, I will save 5,000 out of it. You need to be determined to say this 10,000 naira, I will invest 1,000 out of it. And you keep doing that over the years, and then you accumulate. It will not be easy because you have the funds with you, you have needs around, you have things that are pressing on you, but you have a goal. Your goal is to save to buy a training. Your goal is to save to travel abroad. Your goal is to save to give your family a better life. Your goal is to save to invest in a business so that you can build a business and have financial independence. But then you are not determined to make the sacrifices that is needed to achieve that. While every other person were enjoying the king's food and the king's wine, Daniel and his friends said, no, we are not going to be part of this. And we don't care what is going to be the outcome, but we are convinced, right? We are convinced that our God will not disappoint us. So we are going to abstain from this meal, but we are sure, we are convinced that at the end of the day, we're going to show up, come out better than every other person. Did it work for them? Of course, it worked. Verse 19 told us that by the time they were all presented before the king found them better than every other person. So your determination has a reward. So what does it mean to show up determined? It means to have a strong resolve or willpower to achieve a specific goal or objective, having a clear sense of purpose, and being willing to put in the effort and persistence to reach that goal, even in the face of obstacles and challenges. I'll leave you to read it one more time. Think about it. Just go through it and think about it and ask yourself, am I truly determined to succeed? Am I truly determined to succeed? Am I truly determined to show up? Have a strong resolve or willpower to achieve a specific goal or objective, having a clear sense of purpose and being willing to put in the effort and persistence to reach the goal, even in the face of obstacles or challenges. So you have to be persistent to reach the goal. You have to be willing to put in the effort, even when it is not easy to do that. A determined person does not give up on their goals because they believe in the urgency of their purpose. A determined person does not give up on their goals because they believe in the urgency of their purpose. So that is what drives determination. Because I know that if I succeed, every other person around me will succeed. So I'm determined to succeed. If I make it, every person around me will make it. So I'm determined to do what? To make it. Is that how you're thinking about this year? Is that what you are expecting to experience or to live out this year? Knowing that your purpose is urgent, your purpose is important, your purpose is relevant. And so, because of my purpose, I must do all that is required of me to get to my goal. So, when you see any person who is determined, it is somebody who has understood the urgency of their purpose. What should you be determined about? Determined not to give up. Determined not to give up. Determined people are willing to try as many times as possible. So, remember, you're trying. You're going to fail sometimes. You're going to make mistakes. You are courageous, all right? But determination, you're courageous to take a step, but that step will fail. What will help you to take it again, take that step again, is determination. Let me say that again. You are courageous to take the first step, and it may fail. And when it fails, what will help you to take a second step is determination. So determined people never give up. They keep trying and trying and trying as much as possible, as many times as possible until they do what? They succeed. Number two, determined people never lower their standard because you try, it doesn't work. You try, it doesn't work. You try, it doesn't work. And okay, maybe it's because I'm aiming at this level. Let me bring it down a little bit. Let me bring it down to my level. Then you begin to reduce your sense of excellence. You begin to reduce your sense of success. You begin to reduce your quality, your standard. You begin to give into, little things. It doesn't happen like that with, if you truly want to succeed this year. If you must show up determined this year, you must not lower your standard for things that are lower than what you are worth. In fact, whatever you give into, it determines, says your worth. Whatever you give into says your worth. So you don't lower your standard because things are not working. Instead, work on yourself, right, to meet that standard. So if you set a standard for yourself and you're trying and trying and you're trying, it's not working. The best thing to do is not to go and say, okay, I want to bring it down. So long as you know that this standard is the right one for me, this is who I'm supposed to be. You don't lower your standard. What you do is to work on yourself to come up to that level. You're supposed to be paid 200,000 a month or for a consulting service. You know that is what you want. And then you're pushing it out there. And then it's not working. People are pricing your consulting service for 50,000, or people are saying, okay, we're going to pay 50,000 a month for this particular job. You don't take it, you don't take that job because that's what is available and then lower your standard. What you need to do is to ask yourself, okay, this is what I think I am worth. I am not getting it. Everybody is denying me of that opportunity. What should I do? The thing you need to do is to be determined to work yourself up to that level where you are equal to the standard that you've set for yourself, and not to bring it down. And this is in everything, in your career, in your ministry, in your business, in your family, in your marriage, whatever it is that you have, and you're setting standard for, you need to ensure that you don't lower it because you're having difficulty in hitting that standard. It is the other way around. Instead of bringing down the standard, you should work on yourself. Be determined to work on yourself. Go and learn new skills. Go and learn new ways of doing things, and move up to that level of standard. And lastly, find new ways to do things. Find new ways to do things. When things don't work, Determined people always work hard to find new ways to get it to work. So this year you will try things that you are sure in your heart that they will work, but you'll be surprised that they will not. They will fail. In that situation, all you need to do is to be determined to do what? To try again. Determined not to give up. Determined not to reduce the standard. Determined not to say, okay, I'm tired, but keep on looking for other ways to do it. When you show up undetermined, you will be inconsistent. People without determination, people without determination, anything goes. You see people move from one vision to another undetermined because they are not willing to pay the price of consistency. They are not willing to pay the price of determination. They're not willing to pay the price of trying again. Let's try again. Let's keep trying. There is no harm in trying again. There's no harm in trying again. All right. So, but if you're not determined, if you don't show up with the spirit of determination, you will be inconsistent. And that is what it means by lowering your standards. So today you are saying that this is what you are worth. Then tomorrow you say this is what you are worth because the first thing you said you are worth was not working, and you're not determined to work yourself up to that level. And so you bring it down to this other level. And so that is inconsistency. So people will look at it and say, okay, but you said it was this. Now you are saying it's that. And the people will not take you serious. Nobody takes undetermined people serious. Nobody takes inconsistent people serious. Nobody will invest time in your vision, in your dream, in your goals, in whatever it is you want to do with your life. If you are somebody who is not determined, they need to see that persistence. They need to see that willingness to keep trying to achieve your goal, even in the face of challenges and obstacles. And so you need to show up this year with a very high level of determination. And this is our last point. Show up consistently. Show up consistently. If you want to show up in 2023, show up consistently. We end with Joseph again. And the Bible says in Genesis 41 from 12, a part of 12 to 13, he interpreted our dreams for us. So each man according to the significance of his own dream. And just as he interpreted the dreams for us, so it happened. Who is speaking? Is the chief cupbearer that was speaking to Pharaoh about Joseph. Was speaking to Pharaoh about Joseph. He said, this man consistently interpreted the dreams that we had without mistake. Like what he said happened to me and to the chief baker. Now, if you are prepared, if you are convinced, if you are courageous, if you are determined, and you're not consistent, nothing. If you have everything that we have mentioned now, and you are not consistent in being prepared, you are not consistent in being convinced, you're not consistent in being courageous, you're not consistent in being determined, like you're determined today and tomorrow you are weak, then you are not going to make it. You need to be consistent in 2024. People need to know you for something. People need to know you for something in 2023. And the only way that they will know you for that is to consistently do it today. Do it throughout the year. That is the only way to consistently do it throughout the year. I'm not saying you should do it every day. I'm not saying you should do it every week or every month. You know what works for you. You know what your plan is. You know what your activity is. You understand your time. Work it out in such a way that you will be able to manifest, show up as much as you can. That is the only way people will know about what you're delivering. That is the only way people will value what you're delivering. That is the only way people will know that you actually know what you're doing. That is the only way they will believe in your idea. If they see you do it and do it and do it, when they see you do it and do it and do it, they say, this guy has been doing this thing. Let's go to him. I think he will be able to solve this problem. And another thing about consistency is that With consistency, you build testimonials, you build results, you build impact. It accumulates, right? And then people will begin to see the result gradually. But if you do it today and then you do it next 2 months, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't stamp on the hearts of people that you are the person to go to when it comes to that particular thing you think you're doing. What does it mean to show up consistently? Okay, well, at every point in time, consistency will be superior to intensity, because with consistency, a stronger momentum is built around a vision. At every point in time, consistency will be superior to intensity, because with consistency, a stronger momentum is built around a vision. And the simplest way to explain this is this. I want to build muscles. I want to build muscles. So I decided to start going to the gym. Or I want to build my body, rather, not build muscle, kind of build your body and look fit. And then you started going to the gym. And then you go today and you stay there from morning till night. And then you don't come back again until after 1 month. you don't show up in the gym again until after 1 month. Then you go back again, you do from morning till night. But there is someone else who goes, spends 15 to 20 to 30 minutes. And he does that every 2 days. Every 2 days. Every 2 days. To tell you the truth, that person will be in a better shape, will be in a better health than the person that is going, spending 5 hours there or spending the whole day there and does that only once in a month. So it's not about the size. Okay, maybe any day, I don't know how, no, it's not about the size of the thing. It is about how consistent you are with it. It may be very small action, but you're consistent with it. It may be 300 words that you're writing, but you're consistent with it. It may be 300, it may be 3 pages of that book that you're reading, but you're consistent with it. It may be 1 minute video that you're doing, not just 1 minute or 30 seconds video you're doing, but you're consistent with it. It may be 10 naira that you're giving to help the poor, but you're consistent with it. At least the people know that every week they expect 10 naira from you and they can plan. And not you come and give them 1,000 today and they won't see you again until the next 2 years. No. So consistency is always superior to intensity because it builds stronger momentum around your vision. So if you have a vision, you need to start small. You need to start building it gradually, but you need to do it consistently, whatever it is that you need to do. If you want to publish a paper, you need to start writing. Today, you write 10 lines of introduction, and then tomorrow you write another 10 lines. And that's better than saying, okay, I will write introduction today. Then you sit down, you write introduction from beginning, and then you don't touch it again until the next 3 weeks. No, it doesn't work that way. You will get result, but the result will not be perfect, will not be palatable, will not be something that people will, enjoy. It's not even the result that you will enjoy as well, compared to when you're consistent with whatever it is that you're doing. You can only be consistent then when you are always prepared and determined. So consistency is built on the platform of preparation and determination. So you're prepared and then you're determined. Okay, you're courageous, of course, and you're convinced. Right? But you need to be prepared and determined to be able to be consistent with whatever it is that you're doing. So what should you be consistent in? Showing up and giving value. No matter how many failures you face, keep showing up. You want to go live and the video goes off, no problem. Try again tomorrow. Okay? You want to start a business, you invest money, everything, it didn't work, no problem. Try again. Look for money somewhere else and try again. Whatever it is that you're doing and you keep encountering failure, you need to show up as smart as you can. Continue to give value in any way that you can. It might look like people are not seeing what you're doing. That is the truth. It might look like people are not seeing what you're doing. but people will slide into your inbox. So I do scholarship stuff, right? And sometimes I do it and do it and do it and do it and do it, and it looks like nobody's seeing what I'm doing. But before I know it, I get a message from somebody, and he says, James gave me your number. He said you can help me with scholarship. And then I will sell one slot in my scholarship program. Before I know it again, someone will send a message and say, John sent me a message that that he knows somebody who can help with scholarship, and he asked me to contact you. I sell a second one. But if I'm not consistent with that, people will not know me as someone who can help with scholarship. I don't know what it is that you're doing. Maybe you are a singer. Maybe you are an usher in church. Maybe you are I don't know, whatever it is that you are, you need to be consistent. You need to show up as much as you can. You need to continue to give value as much as you can. Even when you fail, try again. Keep showing up. Number 2, be consistent in your character and integrity. It's very, very important that you're consistent in your character and in your integrity. So if you're prepared, you've invested time in preparation, invested time in being convinced, invested time in being courageous and determined, and then someone comes and finds out that you are a cheat. That is it. Everything you have built is gone. And you won't have an opportunity to show up again on their stage. You won't have an opportunity to show up again in their life. You won't have an opportunity to show up in anything that has to do with them, because you're not consistent with your character. People don't want to do business with people that are not consistent with their character and integrity. So again, it's not about your talent. Where we started from, remember? We started from where we said people miss out in opportunities not because they don't have the gift and talent, but because of how they show up. So if you show up inconsistent in character and integrity, there is nobody who will give you an opportunity. Immediately they find out that you are somebody who is double-sided, two-faced. That's just it. Gone. Every opportunity is gone. So if there is anything that you need to be consistent in, it is in your character and integrity. So no matter how many failures you face, don't change your character and integrity because you want to receive favor, to stop the failures from coming, right? Don't change your character and integrity. You're applying for a job as a lady, you keep applying and applying and applying, and it's not working, and then the manager says you must sleep with me before you get the job, and you know that this is against the standard of your character and integrity, but you gave in. That is it. At the end of the day, he will just make mockery of you. So you need to be consistent in your speech, in your action, in your words, in whatever you say, your character. Let it stand at every point in time. Remember Joseph too. He's the one that we're talking about, that he is consistent. He's been interpreting dreams, and he's been interpreting it accurately. Every time he interpreted dreams, he was accurate. But he never exchanged his character and integrity for an opportunity to enjoy. So you must be consistent in your integrity and your character. And then lastly, you must be consistent in your faith in God and in yourself. Everything else may fall apart. Your friends may go. Your family may decide to deny you. The people you look up to, your mentors and the leaders and whatever, may not give you an opportunity. But know that God will always be by your side. And even when all those things happen, your gift and talent are still inside of you. When a mentor leaves you, when a mentor refuses to give you an opportunity, he is not taking away the gift that is in you. When somebody who promised you something refuses to do that for you, he or she is not taking the gift and talent that is in you. So you need to be consistent in believing in yourself. You need to be consistent in having faith in yourself, because what makes you you is still in you, irrespective of what people think or say or do to you. Because if you come to a point where you now begin to say, okay, he has rejected me because I am not good. She has rejected me because I don't know how to do it. I failed because I don't have this. And then you allow it to begin to sink into your mind. You lose yourself. And if you lose yourself, that is the end of everything. If you lose yourself, you don't have any character to protect. You don't have any integrity to protect. You don't have anything to show up for. You don't have any value to give. If you lose yourself, you lose everything. So if you have to be consistent this year, it is to be consistent in the faith you have in your God, because when everything fails, He will be constant, and have a faith in yourself, because whatever God has deposited in you is still in you, no matter what you are facing. You might be facing fire, you might be facing brimstone, you might be passing through waters, you might be in the mountain or in the valleys. It does not matter what it is that you're going through. I want you to know that you have in you all it takes to be the best. You have in you all it takes to succeed in this year. And I believe with you that it is possible. It depends on how you show up. So if you decide this year to show up prepared, if you decide this year to show up convinced, if you decide this year to show up courageous, determined, and consistent in doing the right things, then the sky it's not going to be your limit. It's going to be a stepping stone. Because no man who has showed up prepared, no man who has showed up convinced, no man who has showed up courageous, determined, and consistent in character and integrity and in their faith in God and in themselves has been disappointed. They can have some challenges, some obstacles, but those can be enough to stop you from reaching your dream and your goal for this year. So whatever it is that is your goal this year, I believe it is possible. I strongly believe it is possible. Whatever it is that you want to achieve this year, I believe it's possible. But you need to know how you're showing up, and you need to show up the right way, because it's not going to be dependent on just your skills and talent and potentials, or whether the opportunity will be there or not. It's going to be dependent on how you show up. So, my friends, I want to encourage you. Take time and ask yourself, how prepared am I for 2023? Do I have the gifts? Do I have the talents? Do I have the potentials? Have I been fine-tuning them? Have I been working on the background, at the backstage, on all that God has given to me? What are my convictions for 2023? What has God done in my life that is helping me to believe that He can do greater in 2023? What has He done in 2022 or 2021 that's making me to believe strongly that 2023 will be a greater year? You need to sit down. You may say, oh, God hasn't done anything in my life in the past 5 years. No, it's not true. You need to sit down and think about it and ask yourself deep questions. If there is nothing else, at least that you're alive to see 2023 is a great thing that should convince you that God has great plans for you. You need to show up courageous. You don't have to be afraid of failure. You don't have to be afraid of the giants. You don't have to be afraid of how difficult it is to make money. You don't have to be afraid to venture into anything, so long as you know that you have the right skills and you're prepared for it. Go into it with courage. Be determined that, okay, I may fall down, but I will rise up again. The Bible says the righteous falls 7 times, but he rises up again. Right? And then you need to be consistent in whatever it is that you're doing. You need to be consistent in whatever you're doing. So I want to thank you very much for joining me in today's SuccessConverge, and I hope that I've made sense. I hope that there's been some level of understanding, some level of blessing, some level of insight, or at worst, some level of encouragement, shared with you today to help you know that it is possible to have a blessed 2023. It is possible to have a blessed year, and I'm believing that with you, because that is what I am looking forward to. So thank you very much, and God bless you for joining me. I'll stop sharing, and all right. So thank you everybody for joining. Obinna, so blessed to see you. Oh my God, I didn't know you were here. Wow, thank you so much, Obinna, for joining. I'm so excited to see you join this session, and I hope that this has made some sense to you. Thanks Joshua for staying till this time, and thanks Nandi for staying till this time. For those on Facebook, Solomon, thanks for joining. I can see Emmanuel, Pastor Valence, who else? So I'm not able to see everybody, but I really want to thank you for joining today's conversation, and I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I pray that it has made sense to you, and you've gotten something out of today's conversation. I might be able to take one or two questions or comments. If anybody has any comment before we round off completely, so if you want to, you can use the chat option here to make a comment here on Emit, or if you are on Facebook, you can also use the chat section to make a comment and or ask a question. So I'll wait for that for about 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you very much, Abina. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate your joining the session. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Grateful. I think we should catch up after now. So if we can catch up outside this on Facebook or something like that, that would be very great. Also. Okay, looks like there is no other comments. Then I'll have to call it a day at this point. Thank you one more time for joining me on today's SuccessConverge. It's been an amazing session. Truly blessed. I have challenged myself and I've made up my mind on how to show up in 2023. And that is how I hope that you will also show up. I pray that our week will be blessed and the rest of the year will be blessed for us as well. So if you're following us on Facebook, LifeExcel Resource Centre on Facebook, or in the group, you're going to continue to get updates. We have weekly sessions in the Facebook group from team members, myself, and other leaders come up every week, once in a week to share something about success, something about excellence with the group members. So if you're not in the group, just search for LifeExcel Resource Centre and look up the group option, and you can click to join the group. We also have a Facebook page that you can join. Follow rather. We're on Instagram and we're also on Twitter. So feel free to follow us on all these platforms. And I'm also on Instagram as Dr. Apeh Omede, on Twitter as Dr. Apeh Omede, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook as well. So if you want to follow me, feel free to do that, and we'll be sharing with one another once in a while. But in everything, we want you to be part of our community, and we love to see your face more often. So we're going to have another edition of SuccessConverge in February, because our plan, as you know, is that we have SuccessConverge once in a month, like we have been doing in the past. So we hope that God will give us the strength to do that also this year. So I look forward to seeing you in February when we discuss something else that we believe will help to prepare us to be the best we can in 2023. Thank you very much, and God bless you.